do with this information. So Simon, over to you. Thanks so much.
Thank
for
you.
your
Thank
time.
you, Trevor.
I appreciate it. Let's give him a round of applause, guys. Thanks.
I'll include myself. Cheers. Makes it a little bit louder. Are you leveraging your founder's personal brand in your marketing? By show of hands, who's doing that? Leveraging the founder's personal brand in your marketing. 1, 2. You know you need to? Okay. That's a very good start. At least there's an awareness of that. The focus of today's talk is around harnessing, particularly those that run their own businesses, to consider leveraging one's personal brand in our marketing and communications. And if you're part of a team, I think there's a conversation potentially to be had around incorporating the founder's brand. So some factors we need to bear in mind. Do you agree that we're experiencing such audience fragmentation? So who here is on Netflix but's on their phone? Come on, we're all guilty. You're watching a movie, but you're checking Instagram. So there's you're multitasking. To get someone's attention is actually really difficult because we've been shouted at with email. And I know when you get a long list of emails, it just gets buried. And often you don't end up seeing or getting to all your emails. And the same with WhatsApp in terms of that framework. So we're needing to compete with fragmented audiences. What about choice overload? Who do we buy from? I mean, I'll take an example like cereal. Think of how many cereal brands are on shelf. In the same way, if you think about businesses and who you could potentially work with, it can be quite overwhelming as to who to engage. And the third, I think we all agree, is trust erosion. Do you trust brands? No. Or maybe, would you say maybe a few? Very few. So what brands do you trust? Bless you.
Thank you.
Which brands do you trust? Many. Good answer. What else? And the reason being? Okay, so there's R&D that goes into the offering that builds trust. Absolutely. What would be a brand that you feel you would distrust?
I want to say Timu, but yet I support them every month.
Yeah, I'm also comfortable with my hypocrisy, it is what it is. So this is a bit of a conflict.
Big Pharma, I don't trust.
Okay, Big Pharma.
My card conflicts with my bank account.
So it's more financial. The point is, brands can break their promises. And what we really need to think about is honoring our promise. Regardless of whether you're a startup, whether you're in growth stage or exit, you need to make sure that you're a trustworthy brand. It's going to differentiate you. And a quote a statement that I think we can all agree with is people buy from people. And that's what I really want to encourage you to think about. And obviously I want to caveat this talk, it depends on your business objectives, your brand and marketing, and what you want to achieve. What I want to put forward is an argument around incorporating your founder and the leverage that can create in terms of trust and what we call brand equity, brand value. So people buy from people. Do we agree with that, or am I talking rubbish? Why, if you're in agreement, what is it about that statement that you align with?
Relationship builds credibility.
It does. And with that relationship, there's consistency. That person's the same. They're reliable in that. Anything else in terms of people buying from people? Ma'am?
I think people will use you once without sort of meeting and chatting to you a lot, but you'll never get that like ongoing proper business until you properly engage with the decision maker in the company, and that's conversation and perhaps even seeing them. They want to know more about you before they really push you.
So there's a relationship building that potentially opens the gates, the gatekeeper, to the decision maker. Absolutely, and that's fundamental in marketing is who are the gatekeepers? Who's stopping you from getting into that company? Or if it's B2C, to that customer? And critically, who are the decision makers? Who actually decides on appointing you? So yes, that's exactly that.
I also, I like the relationship part of it. If I get a call and I can hear it's a bot or something, I just drop the call. I want to speak to a person, not to a bot.
Emotional investment.
Okay, so the value of an actual human
Yeah.
cannot be, and I think in the world, or the explosion in AI, I think we're going to just see more digital, more bots. Don't lose that interpersonal connection, whether it's over a phone call or meeting a client over coffee. I think it's going to become very special. So that relationship is everything. So what I'd like to do is take you through 10 examples of predominantly South African entrepreneurs, firm founders, and how they've incorporated their personal brand into building their business brand. So the first gent is Rich Mulholland. I don't know if any of you are familiar with him. He's a super dynamic speaker. He's the founder of Missing Link. They do speaker or talk training for a lot of the TEDx and TED network. And he is so gregarious and so alive. He's such an embodiment of Missing Link. It comes through in his videos, in his books. His personality is an expression of the brand. He's covered in tattoos. He's got spiky hair. He's just like, he's a rock and roll, he's got that style about him, and it's inculcated in the Missing Link brand. What this does is it connects you to the business. And it's something that we want to think about with our brands is your brand is an embodiment of your business. It's your people, it's your systems, it's your communications. And the question that I pose around people buying from people, what do you have in your business that is interpersonal, that shows a face? I'm curious to ask that question. And I would love to get some feedback where you're dealing with, are you dealing with humans? Are humans dealing with you? Yes. So what are some of those touch points that constitutes? Phone calls, meetings, conversations. Absolutely. So that's critical. The second is leverage influence to build commercial trust. Are you familiar with Amanda Dupont? Okay, so she's a media influencer, celebrity, and she moved into the cosmetic space, into skincare specifically. And what she's done brilliantly is she's leveraged the equity of her personal brand and the influence and translated that into a product range and brand. Remember, people buy from people. There's a connection. There's also an aspirational aspect to that. So a question to ask you is, when it comes to influence, how are you exerting that? How are you showing that in your work? Yeah, I'm asking a question there. It wasn't rhetorical. How are you incorporating your personal brand into your business? Are you the face of the brand? Is it important to be the face of the brand?
When I look at my side, so because I'm linked so much to the educational side of our property investing education platform, I do a lot of webinar training in that space. So I leverage that quite a lot, and it's just my face in front of people as often as possible. So I think that's one of the cores to it. So I've obviously recognized the value that comes out of that personal brand. I think that's
Absolutely. Could we unpack the benefits and rationale behind you being the active face of your business?
So I think it comes back to the trust. So my industry being this prepaid metering space, 99% of the space is call center, or someone just goes to their electrician, says, I need a prepaid meter, they get the meter, and they never interact with the company itself. So, as a property owner myself, I experienced that. So I've wanted to really make sure that personal relationship happens, because when things don't work, you don't have a face or a name or a person to reach out to. There's no accountability. There's no sort of person who's going to support you, because you're dealing with the person at the bottom of the food chain.
What's coming through for me is there's trust, because there's someone I can contact, and you've built equity in amongst your target audience that you're the go-to when things go right, but critically when things go wrong. So that's where we're seeing the value of that founder personal brand coming through.
And then I see the willingness when things go wrong elsewhere, where that relationship and trust isn't happening, the willingness for them to move to that people buy from people mentality, that is so much stronger. So it sucks to rely on things to go wrong for them to want to come this way.
but you're bulletproofing your business in essence. Absolutely. So with the example of Amanda leveraging her personal brand, moving into a new space, and that equity transfer. And what that does, it creates additional revenue lines, if you think about it.
And I think that's why, like, one of the big things when I saw this come up with Action Coach, like, okay, this is where I know I need to move, because I'm doing that sort of brand building within a formal structure, but now I need to leverage that into an informal space. So being very strategic in how I do that into the next space, which I think speaks to this.
Exactly that.
Brand,
Um,
how to deploy it.
After you.
So, when you finish with that, could you just explain what you do when there's more than one founder or more than one person you want to showcase?
Then it will be a case of you need buy-in from the founders, but the idea is that this is the collective group that pioneered said brand. So I see an opportunity to showcase the founders together and a little bit about them, because you're buying into their story and you're connecting with them. So I don't know if
Stories rather than stories.
there will be individual stories from each person, but there'll be an overarching story around the business. Yeah, but I would encourage that everyone is represented there, and how you came to fruition, or that business came to fruition. Yeah. Just a thought, sorry, your name, Bevan, is I would suggest an audit, a brand audit, purely an idea here, is what comprises your marketing material and channels, and where can you show up more? So where you're getting it right, but where are the gaps? So for example, do you have a presence on any social channels?
We do, but not enough. And again, that comes down to I'm by sort of default an introverted individual.
So it makes it a little more difficult.
Like
Yeah.
I don't like to shout about anything, but not because I'm like embarrassed about it, but it's just because it doesn't default to being a priority. And that's one of the things I'm super aware that it's the next space that I need to leverage that sort of influencing space. But I want to do it right. So now I'm in this gather the right data to know that I'm going to deploy it in the right strategic way. So I've got the foundation set, but I haven't actioned it enough. And I think that's where I'm going into this next phase of my interview.
And to my mind, that's actually beautiful. Yeah.
You've actually now put into words what I've been feeling for a long time, but didn't know what I know. I was an ex-soldier, like most of you know, and when I had to change into a new career, I felt lost. I didn't know what am I going to do, because all I ever wanted to do was with a soldier and have a gun and go out and make people feel safe. And then it dawned on me that I still am doing the same thing. The battlefield changes a bit. The same enemy from back then is actually still the enemy today, and I'm protecting my clients against those attacks. And that's my brand.
Can I?
Wow. Sorry, that's such an incredible story, being a soldier. Wow.
So
Okay,
you're
sorry.
curious about what you did to your husband.
Link to the soldier.
Is he in heaven?
Little wine.
He's still alive.
Some days it feels like it's an heaven.
Because he's married to you. Hey, you see what I did there? A little sharp. Anyway, what I was thinking, just going back to our conversation a moment ago, is there's various formats that you can consider. You could write articles. You could attach a profile picture of yourself to that. You could also look at even voice notes. I see that working really well on LinkedIn at the moment, where you've got a cutout of your profile picture, and you have a little wave animation that goes with that. And it could be bite-sized tips or advice, or in your space, which I think could work well, is pose questions. Have you done this? Have you considered that? But you're seeing your face, and you've been associated with thinking and positioning yourself as a domain expert. So that's where the richness of personal branding comes in. And then the third one is video. And it's quite scary. I don't know, who uses video in their marketing? Okay, so you are.
So I started it, but again,
Yeah.
I default into my introversion. I go like, okay, well, I'm getting 0 views, but I've changed my mindset, because I actually had a client 2 weeks ago as a referral from one of our affiliates who said, listen, Nash has told me to get hold of you. I need someone to help me with my utilities management. I've gone through all your videos. I'm like, oh, okay, someone's actually watching it.
But the thing is, it's not about millions of views. I'd rather have 10 people view and one translates into a client.
Exactly. And
So
that's-
it's a
that's
just
gonna be
we
the hard
that's
one.
so there's a few things there, and I'm glad we're speaking about this. Is just be careful and applies. I fall for this myself. Vanity metrics. I didn't get 1,000 likes or reactions. It's more than that. It's actually someone reaching out to you and saying, "I need your help in said product or service offering." So if you are using video, I would encourage just compare your first video to where you are now. You are improving. It's so unnatural to speak to your phone and like, hey, how are you doing? And there's zero reaction because it's a screen. But I do encourage, you strike me, as much as it's difficult, it's the most wonderful way to connect with a person. And I'll showcase, don't get me wrong, a product or service, but you've got that multimedia dimension, that audio and visual. And very quickly, people will get a sense, I resonate, I connect, and to some extent, trust. And you're putting yourself out there, and I think there's a reward. Yeah, so I think you could be onto something quite special there.
I
And
like what you said and this idea of, because the video is one platform, but you can then deploy that into, transcribe it into
literally, so it's
a voice message.
exactly. So is everyone familiar with the gentleman by the name of Gary Vaynerchuk? Okay, so some half-half. Basically, he is a globally renowned social media strategist, influencer, and speaker. And his model that he speaks to is record a video, transcribe that, use AI. You now have blog articles, and you can skin the video into audio. So you see what you're doing there. By just having the video, you now have 3 platforms or formats. And just one thing on video is it doesn't need to be perfect. Like I struggle, like I share quite a lot of video on LinkedIn, but it's taken me probably about 15 years of testing before actually getting up and sharing it, because you're so exposed. You're so exposed. And like social media can be brutal. But the risk reward for me has been disproportionately favorable to do it. And very quickly it's either I like you or I don't. And not everyone's your target market. There's a quote by Seth Godin, globally renowned marketing strategist I may have mentioned. He famously says a product for everyone is a product for no one. You can't be everything to everyone. You're not going to make everyone happy. So even if you've got a very thin slice of an audience, but if they matter, that's going to help you get them over the line. So I think you...
Maybe that also leads on to what Sue was saying, is where you've got multiple founders. I've also realized that something that will resonate with a certain person, or I might resonate with a certain person, but for someone else, I won't resonate for. So having multiple founders means you're going to capture the ones that will resonate with that other founder when they don't resonate with you. So
Yeah, so certain personalities we connect with, others we don't. This is human nature. So I think your question was really valuable. Have you considered a founder story piece in your marketing around how the business came to fruition?
They're actually on 2 founders, but what I'm talking about here is a situation where someone joins later. They're not that who found it, but they become extremely pivotal.
Okay, so this...
Maybe even a father-son situation. The father used to run it, the son now takes over or work.
But I mean, that's a beautiful story right there.
Yeah, so you just
There's
go with the
succession.
story you've got.
Yeah, so if it's a father-son dynamic, I mean, is both alive, I'm just thinking there could be a video opportunity with them both sitting on a couch with a prop like a coffee cup, and they just share the journey of how I started and then my son taking over the reins, and also how philosophies may shift. There's something very powerful there. Yeah, awesome. The third is, are you familiar with Jan Hendrik van der Westhuizen, the chef? Yes. Yeah, so I'm talking about the sexy checkers guy. I mean, he is good. Look, yes, yeah, fair enough. Okay, I'm gonna. Yes. Okay, so yeah, same. The checkers guy. Oh wow. Okay, that's.
No, now who's thinking of brands?
No, well, Teresa, you certainly are. So what I think we really want to think about. So I'm actually caught off guard. The sexy. I was like, okay. So Jan Hendrik is a Michelin star chef. He's got a restaurant in Nice, in France, and his position is really a blend of South African heritage. I see a lot of Afrikaans culture aspect, and European luxury. And whether you subscribe to, or he's got the books, his newsletters, whether you visit the physical restaurants, there's a golden thread around that blend of South African heritage and culture and that European luxury. And every touch point, I keep going back to this because this is truly branding, is you want to ensure every touch point. We've spoken about meeting a prospect over coffee, giving a talk, what you share online. Those are all what we call touch points. And what you really want to create is that golden thread. So regardless of that touch point that that consumer or prospective client has, that brand identity has lived through. And Jan Hendrik does a really good job. My question to you is, what is your position in the market? And I can unpack it further. So we speak about your position is your point of difference, communicated. Teresa, what would you say with your business? What is distinctive about your offering?
I would say I do a positive spin on microlending, on staff loans. We were discussing
Yes, the
this
dolphin.
earlier
Yeah.
on let's normalize the fact that your staff need a payday advance, and I think it's a fantastic tool. So just like Jan, I'm not just a pretty face. I have some.
I enjoy the humor. Yeah, this is quite sharp.
Trust. And I don't want to say that there aren't microlenders out there that don't trust, but trust and reliability is one of my biggest things. And I'm really trying to redefine the microlending space by saying we are trustworthy. You can trust us with your staff. Trust.
So what's key to your positioning that's coming through for me is actually a reframing of
Coming back to re-education.
Exactly. So I think you're onto something very, very special. Anyone else like to speak to their brand position? So what is their differential in their business? Do you know what your point of difference is? And my question then is, are you communicating that across everything, across every channel, touch point? So if I said Volvo, what does that mean? It means one word? It means safety. That is the pinnacle of brand positioning. Are they the safest car on the road? I don't know. I think they're right up there with Mini, BMW, which owns Mini, Mercedes, Audi, etc. But they hang their hats on that thing, that one thing. And we all unanimously said safety. So what is that one thing in your business that you need to communicate consistently? So it's not an easy one.
Even when Trevor introduced and it said, like, what is our key messaging, our key brand? So I have a cloudy understanding of it. It's like, okay, I'm trying to sort of target landlords who need the right education to protect them from losing their properties. But then, so the education becomes it, but I haven't quite dialed in that key message yet.
What you have, and I think you've got the sequence right, is your reason for being, your brand purpose, which we'll speak to just now. You could always come back to you and your business, is that your message will be derived from that position. So what I gathered from what you said is that you care. And education is actually about uplifting and empowering. So I think there could be some messaging around upliftment, helping, guiding. So that teaching is actually, it's a higher level engagement. So I would look at, when it comes to landlords, how are you helping them? And I think you actually have your reason for being, your brand purpose dialed in then.
And also, like, I'm hearing control in a good way.
Good, like taking control.
Yes, like being in control of your own property, being in control of your meter, electricity usage, empowering.
So yeah, so you've got some ideas there, spot on. So that control, taking control, is definitely an opportunity. So in summary, with this point is lock down on what differentiates you, what is your point of difference, and then make sure you're communicating that across everything that you do, because we cannot afford to look the same. Whether we're in textiles, whether we're in food and supplements, whatever it may be, we have to stand out. We cannot afford to. The one slide I spoke about is choice overload. There's just an abundance of products and services. I mean, go into Takealot, Jeepers. I mean, those catalog lists are forever. If you go into a physical store, if you go into Amazon, it's a plethora. The fourth is out-teach the market. And I think, Bevan, sorry, I know we're double downing on your brand, but by all means, please, this is turning into a free brand consult. Hey, you can. I'll send you my bank details. Something that I subscribe to and has worked really well in my business is out-teach the market. One of the most significant shifts we've seen in, I'd say, business, brand, and marketing as a whole is a shift from hard sell to relationship building through content marketing. So I'm not trying to force my brand consulting work on you. I'm drawing you in through a blog post, through a video, through a talk. You're adding value. You're giving your prospects a sense of your brand and whether you resonate or you don't. And that's really the key thing, is to look at how can you share your expertise that by definition positions you as an expert. And I keep going back to that concept of domain expertise. And in the eyes of your public and your target audience and customer or client, is that you really are positioning yourself as an authority. You know your stuff. You can't teach something unless you, I can never tell you about how a car is made or what an engine comprises of. It just turns on. That's all I know. You know your stuff. Convey that. So, the example here is Warren Ingram. He is quite a renowned figure and voice in the financial planning space. Certainly was a regular on 702 with Bruce Whitfield. And you would have generally like a 13 to 15 minute segment on discussing, I don't know, the two-tier system or some form of taxation. He has positioned himself as the expert. He's got a podcast called Honest Money. He's on YouTube. He's got books. He's in the press. He's predicating his brand on generosity, teaching people how to better finance and look after themselves. Similar to you, there's an education piece. So please think about that as a strategy, because it's content marketing. You're drawing your prospect in because you're the authority. You're not selling them anything. If you think about it, you're adding value. Yeah. The next is turning personal purpose into brand purpose. The example that I want to share here is Theo Beloy. So he's the founder of Batu Sneakers. And I'd like to just, because you probably won't be able to see in the back, Batu is a common universal slang word primarily used in townships across SA to describe a shoe. Batu was established in 2015 in a local township, Alexandra. It has now grown exponentially over the years with 32 stores nationwide. That's really impressive. And a staff complement of over 300 who are predominantly youth. So for Theo, it's around job creation, and the vehicle happened to be shoes. It could have been cars, it could have been chairs, desks. The point is, his personal belief system has articulated and translated into his business. My question to you is, are you clear on what your brand purpose is? So another way of framing it is your reason for being. Has anyone locked down what theirs is? To serve, to help, to educate? What would be, have you got anything, Annalise?
Would be to help people to move away from pharmaceutical products and really educate them on how simple it actually can be to eat well, eat a lot, still look good, feel good without having to rely on stuff that you don't actually know what to do to and putting you in, making you sick, etc. So it's actually simple. It's just not always easy.
No, it's not as easy, but at the epicenter, what's coming through for me is that there's care. Genuine care through the education that you bring to the table. So I think care would sit arguably at the epicenter of the business. Anyone else locked down on what their purpose is? Teresa?
Mine is unlearning. I want South African businesses to unlearn the shame around lending. Your staff need assistance, and there's no shame. There is no shame around being a loan. We were talking about it early on. You take out a loan to buy a car, you take out a
Or
loan to
your
buy a
home.
house.
Yeah.
Why are you not allowing your staff to take out a loan
I mean, you're not shunned upon by buying a car
You're not
financed
shunned, but yet you're shunned to borrow 2,000 rand because you need to pay doctor's bills.
or food or
you
whatever.
might
Yeah.
borrow 15,000 rand because you want to buy bricks and cement to add onto your roof. So there's a positive, and so mine is unlearning the shame and adding a positive to providing credit as opposed to.
There's a perception that micro lenders are shocked. So you're worried that your staff are going to lose.
That's why I go with the I'm a lone dolphin.
But I mean, it's so relatable. Like when you mentioned that I'm a lone dolphin, I was like, I know, lone shark. But you made it, dolphins are loving, and well, not necessarily loving, but they're beautiful animals. And are they?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, this is we're basically speaking politics here. Let's move away.
Put Jan back on the TV and I'll prove I'm a loving dolphin.
You really fancy him, eh?
I enjoy shopping at Checkers.
Okay, sure, because of Jan. Are you using the word unlearn in your marketing?
No.
I think that
Just came now.
it really.
I was listening to you about re-education around vitamins and eating.
Yeah,
and that struck me was because there's always a shame.
Unlearning, yeah.
In a big body, there's a shame. Sorry, I'm just taking over.
No, this was meant to be a more interactive.
So just stand up and use the microphone.
Oh, yeah, here it is.
So when you're talking about nutrition and food and you can eat as much as you want, I was like, yeah, right. And I just had this download of being a woman growing up in a bigger body. There's always the shame around, are you really going to eat that? It is. You know, so that's when I was like, oh, but there's a shame around lending. There's a shame around needing financial assistance. That's why it's all very much unlearning, even with my account. So let's unlearn.
Yeah, so that maybe you could incorporate that language. I was just thinking, Teresa, you could that unlearning from an elevator pitch perspective, but through to your entire marketing, you really had me when you said unlearn. It was actually quite disruptive. So consider that as part of your messaging based on your purpose.
Okay, thank you.
Unlearning is, why would I need to unlearn? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And also, I like your story. We don't feel any shame getting a mortgage or buying a car. But if you're short and your kids need food, like, why should there be shame around that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And now you're going to go to the lone shark. You're going to get yourself into so I'm just doing my 60 second.
No, that was good. Can you give us your email address and cell? And so yes,
That's my business card.
just casually drop them off at each table. No, we're spot on. The next individual, I don't know if you're familiar with Sheldon Tatchell. Yeah, so some of us are. He's the founder of Legends Barbershop, and the brand is exploding. And I follow him on LinkedIn primarily, and just, again, it might be difficult to see in the back, but just the copy reads, I left my corporate job a few years ago. I can remember vividly that I told my manager I'm leaving my job to become a full-time barber. He laughed at me and told me that I will be back and should give him a call whenever needed my job back. Never looked back ever since. Today, since the relaunch of Legends Barber in 2014, we have opened 46 stores in South Africa and Botswana, and employing over 400 staff, with 30 active training centers empowering the next generation. I can see purpose coming through there, and I see that purpose builds community. So if you're clear on your purpose, you're going to attract, I think, a more aligned target audience, and critically, staff. That's something that I've learned over the years working with clients, is when we've locked down on what we're about, what we stand for, why we do what we do, that does draw in a particular type of staff member. So not to overlook there. And I suppose what we want to think about is, are we articulating our purpose? Because that could really be a rallying cry to connect. We are here to unlearn, to empower, to upskill. So yeah, I would highly recommend following him. His journey has just been nothing short of incredible.
What's his name again?
Sheldon Tatchell.
He actually left Standard Bank. I heard a speaker.
Okay.
Event. We've been trying to get him as a speaker for about. Legend opens. He is opening more branches.
Yeah, he's got one on Florida Road. Yeah. It's an incredible story. I mean, he is, and he's like casually like an MIT, and then, you know, he's like Oxford, and he's doing these amazing overseas, like getting this degree, this qualification. So he's constantly self-improving, and yeah.
I messaged him, so when we were opening in Westfield, need a better barbershop.
I'll cut your hair.
Can you cut here as well?
No.
Oh, jeepers. Trevor, you dodged a bullet there.
I'm a bloke, my hair bounce back after 2 days.
You fake it till you make it.
Yeah. The next example I'd like to share with you is Asha Pandor. So she's the co-founder of a brand called Sweep South. And basically it's an app that connects temporary domestic workers to your home, and basically for cleaning your home. But it's around paying your staff better. It's about empowering communities that have been marginalized, gives them work, and you've got a clean house as a result. So it's a lot more transparent in terms of the mechanics of the brand and business. And my question to you regarding humanizing innovation is, are you really what are you solving? As a brand, what are you solving or contributing to solving? In the same way that Asha has.
When you say innovation, straight away it comes like it has to be like innovative. But
It doesn't have to be it doesn't even have to be like we're developing the latest app or this groundbreaking idea that'll make you billions. It could be something incremental.
Stress. Solve stress.
You solve stress. In many respects, you do. I mean, when you don't have money, flip.
So
It's
productivity. I solve productivity problems too.
a big chunk will come from that. Yeah.
Because your employees are financially stressed, and financial stress doesn't stay at home, it follows you into the work.
And you can't work properly when you're stressed. I mean, that's all it becomes a haze.
So you make mistakes, so you're not so focused.
Yeah. Okay, so we're on the same page there. Number 8 of 10 is become the face of the mission. And the brand Yoko, are you familiar with Yoko? I have to share the copy. This is a screenshot from their website. When commerce is open, we all thrive. So it's a very collective, you can see the community coming through. Yoko exists to give entrepreneurs a platform to grow. When small business thrives, the economy does too. How beautiful is that copy? So very SMME orientated. And what we want to think about is, what is our mission? What are we aiming to achieve on a daily basis? I see your mission is very much the tactical arm of vision. That you're doing this every day, you're working towards something. So my question to you, in the way that Yoko is doing that, my question to you is, how are you going about driving your mission? And I'm not talking about some superficial mission that sits on a plaque or on the wall. I mean, actually, because we see all these, our vision, our values, do people really, I don't think people read them or actually embody them. It needs to be inculcated in everything that we do.
How many websites have our vision insert text here? Yeah, Latin or some.
Yeah. Or we've used ChatGPT. Yeah. The thing is, it needs to be inculcated in the culture and in your mission. So consider that in terms of your approach.
But I think also,
Sorry, go back.
you were talking purpose earlier and how it attracts good employees. Like that also is on, if we're clever as the business owners, managers and so on, if we're clear on what our purpose, our mission is, never mind from a slogan brand perspective, but that clarity then infects everyone else that will come into contact with.
So there's that energy, I think, transfer as well. Absolutely. Number 9. Are you familiar with Good Things Guy? The founder, Brent Lindeck, is very much the face, whether it's the website, podcasts, articles, his blog articles. He's in the media a lot. There's a face to good things guy. And what I think really sits and is obvious is sharing good news about South Africa. I mean, there's not a lot of good news because bad news sells. It's hardwired into our psyche. So this really disrupts that by highlighting good stories, good things that are happening in South Africa, and perhaps giving us a more balanced view than that South Africa isn't on fire. My question to you is, when it comes to a belief, with Brent, it's clearly around sharing positivity and good news. What is your belief when it comes to your brand? What we realize is a brand is actually a complex system. So to think about what is the belief that it's very much the glue to your brand. Would anyone like to articulate what theirs is? Is there a belief? Is there maybe a perspective or a viewpoint? Possibly? Okay. At the very least, yeah.
So obviously a lot of my passion is property investing related. So that's kind of like the core reason that I'm in the industry that I'm in, because everything I'm kind of doing serves towards this property space. But my sort of core expression is there's never been a better time to invest in property because of the amazing tools that are available. And for me, the prepaid meters is one tool in amongst multiple tools. So I kind of look at that message come through.
That was lovely. You really have given a lot of thought to your brand. How long have you been running the business?
So in this iteration, it's 2 years, and then I was dabbling in it for about a year before that. But then the property-specific focus is like 8 years since
No.
I've come out of that journey.
You're very far on your brand journey and articulation.
Yeah, but
Implementation.
So I'm probably doing the over-analyzing default, get all the information. So now I'm like, okay, I need to do the thing, which is the
Yeah, so you're building out your strategy. It's now, what does the execution look like to complement the strategy? And I would stick to baby steps, one thing at a time, do that properly and build upon. There's a quote by, I love my quotes as you're probably gathering, Scott Galloway, an American entrepreneur and college professor. He says, you can have everything, but not all at once. And it's the same with brand. And I would encourage you to try to do everything and do it properly. Do one and build upon. It's more sustainable. So yeah, lock down on your belief. And 10th, PR. Public relations is marketing gold. So you get 3 types of media. You get earned, where people talk about you, and where I think Jennifer Reddy, she's the CEO and founder of Mora, I think that's the correct pronunciation. It's an accounting firm. She leverages PR really well. She's on East Coast Radio, she's sharing articles, she's been featured in said magazines. Lifting her profile draws people towards her, builds trust in the accounting space, and that leads to sales for the business. So that's where the power of being a founder and having a very strong personal brand attracts an audience, because people are buying from people. So that would be an example of earned. Then you get what is known as paid media. It's when we're all exposed to that, unfortunately, where you get targeted ads on, say, social media, on Google, etc., where brands are trying to get in front of you and get you to convert. And then what the third one is called owned media. So your website and your database would be typical examples. You may push back and say, Simon, you should include social media to an extent. The thing is, if you violate any of the T's and C's, you could be suspended or banned, and then you're going to be in trouble. So you don't actually own your Facebook page or Instagram or TikTok. You're more of a guest. Those brands are the host, and they decide who stays and who goes. So going back to Jennifer, she is leveraging earned media to be spoken about positively. It's different to advertising, which is direct. This is more of a side approach, which actually I think works because it's more perceived as organic. So yeah, just please think about that. So I have 3 questions, we're good for time, to round off with. The first is, do people trust your brand or you first?
Oh, we answered.
Yeah. I'm glad. I guess they trust you first because of your personal brand, Teresa. Who else would like to comment? Do they trust you? Is it a relationship with you, or is it with the brand?
I understand that they trust you first and then your brand. I battle with putting all of this linked to the Astrophin brand because the Astrophin brand is very corporate, very specialist, very. I'm not the owner. I'm the operations manager. I'm left managing everything from brand, business development, operations, but I can't go. You know what I mean? So I battle to bring the right brain over to the left brain.
But the thing is, you need to be. I see them complementing. We are a serious brand, but you're engaging with me. You know you're going to get great service in the systems we have in place, but you connect with people, and that's what we need.
But I guess like on social media, I keep it very, and maybe I should bring a little bit more of my humor.
It's what connects us.
But I'm also like touching on what you said earlier on, and I'm the extrovert, and I'm still very aware of what I put on my personal life out there.
Yeah, I mean, they speak about it's a digital billboard.
So then how do you find that balance of like, oh, hashtag Ice Cream Friday?
So it depends on your target audience and channels. So you wouldn't share that on LinkedIn, but you may share that on Instagram or Facebook.
Yes.
So it just depends on the channel, and also what do you want people to take away from that? Because what you're sharing is building a composite profile.
The message behind
What is the message?
take time out and enjoy an ice cream. You deserve it.
Could be more, yeah. But then that changes the dynamics. You're saying work is stressful. Let's have a time out. So that's when that could be appropriate. So just be cognizant of what you post, what that signals. If you're posting just, I don't know, one thing, you're going to be known for that one thing.
Yeah.
So just be cognizant of what you're putting out there, because that's building a tapestry around, especially not for LinkedIn. It's amazing stuff, don't be wrong, but it just depends on the platform. You may want to say a glass of wine after a busy week, and that's on Facebook. I mean, that'll do well. Socially more acceptable, not for LinkedIn. Yes. So you will come across an alcoholic if you every night. Hey, it's been a long day.
Guys, this isn't just my personality.
Yeah, or you represent SAB. Yeah. So that's the first one. Yeah, that's brilliant. So do people trust your brand or you first? And again, as I caveated earlier, it depends on the strategy for your brand. Is it important that the founders have a face, or is it more of a business collective view?
Just on that side.
Yes.
Initially, when I always think of this, it's one of the big things that Trevor's or Action Coach goes through, is this idea of packaging the company to eventually systemize and so on.
Yes.
This is a fear that comes into me when I obviously self-doubt in this, building it around my personal brand, is how do I plan for succession?
Okay. So 2 things, and that's why I caveat, because having a personal brand doesn't actually apply to that brand or industry, hypothetically, right? What you want to think about shifting in terms of selling is you're not going to be part of that sale necessarily. So in time, you want to evolve your brand or reframe it from me to we. So there's a language piece, us, the collective, the team. That's in time. And also your visuals. So instead of you being the only person posting videos, start incorporating other team members. And over time, you start fading your personal brand being the main and actually upweighting the others.
Obviously, I'm not there yet.
No, but something to think about. So it's very hard to, if the founder brand is everything, it's going to be very hard to sell that on, because obviously you're not involved. So I'm just saying, there's caveats as to depends on your strategy, but the value as you build your personal brand, people connecting, and over time you shift.
So that's part of that strategy.
Yeah. So just
to refine in my mind that I'm thinking.
So I love that description of horizons, short, medium, and long-term horizons. I see there's a lovely visual dimension to that. Is you know, maybe you do want to sell in 10 years' time, so reverse engineer that to say, well, by year 5, I'm starting to incorporate more of the team. Instead of me, it's we, it's us, it's our. Your language matters. And also that impression on social, on your website, that it's us, not just you that's the captain of the ship. So yeah, I would actually reverse engineer that. And then thirdly, is your personal brand a growth asset or an unused advantage? It's a tough one, but it's something to think about. Are you harnessing this? Is there an opportunity here to incorporate your personal brand depending on what your objectives are for your business? And I go back to people buy from people. There's connection, there's trust, and greater loyalty as a consequence.
Simon, by
Yes.
unused advantage, do you mean that
You're not using it, you're not harnessing, you do a great job with Action Coach, Trevor Clark, you've got a strong brand. I feel like I can connect with you. It's more if you weren't active on LinkedIn, which I know you are, and I see what you're up to. Standard Bank was it yesterday, and casually flying to the States, hey, living the life, eh? But I get the impression that I can connect with you even if I didn't know you.
I think that's why I'm such a fan of LinkedIn, because I mean, I consider myself terrible at LinkedIn, because all social media, I always forget to post, I'm too busy doing other stuff. But just with the odd post on LinkedIn,
We just get to see what you're up to.
yeah, people go, Trev, you're so busy and you're doing this, you're doing that. I mean, I'm always busy, but like not doing as many events as it comes across. So we do a lot.
Well, it's working, even though it might be sporadic. It certainly appears, I see it often enough.
Yeah, I think it just shows the reach
Yeah,
of LinkedIn.
yeah, and your network. Yeah, perfect. Sue.
What if you've got 2 businesses? Is it absolutely terrible to, say on your LinkedIn banner, to have like a logo of both companies? Is that just terrible?
No, will your target audience be on say LinkedIn, if your banner, if you're going to harness your banner, will both audiences be there? Both customer groups?
Looking at LinkedIn?
If it is, or any platform that it might be where there's a banner opportunity, like X, Twitter, Facebook has one.
Well, they're different audiences.
So I'm just thinking is, you
Could I have a poke at that?
yeah,
Because obviously I know the business as well.
Systems and HR.
Yeah, because my feeling is always, you know, your personal page is your personal brand, and the company page is, so obviously a separate company page for each, and that's where you have a clear
Yeah.
banner as the company
You better
message.
have neither in your banner.
Yeah.
as your personal.
And when your personal brand is about your vision, your personal vision, and then each company page
And-
is the company vision of each, something like that.
yeah.
Put both logos on the banner.
I suppose such do you could.
Maybe there's a visual that captures both, or maybe of you speaking. Is it your business? So it could be an action shot that positions you as an authority giving a talk, or in a meeting you standing up and talking. That might be getting to know the Sue brand better. And then what you could have in your descriptor, your title is founder of A and B. And these are the 2 worlds that I'm involved with, and then I would have company pages for each.
And it does it in your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You can have 4 or 5 or 7 company roles.
Yeah.
Tricky one.
Yes. No, you got a fine line to balance.
I like the idea of the 2 logos.
It's funny, as you asked the question, I'm trying to think of a famous, like a celebrity that has a big personal brand but multiple company brands. Like most of the examples you've given us, it's the personal brand and they've got a dominant. I'm trying to think of anybody else that comes to mind where it's multiple, that they're known equal. Like obviously Virgin, like Richard Branson.
Yeah, but it's the way it's structured, the portfolio, yeah. Nothing comes to mind unless someone else can think of. Yes. He's a really good example. So he's got acquisition.com and his personal. Yeah, so thank you. So do you know Alex Hormozy? I think he must be safely a billionaire by now. Well, he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He's really built, well, part of his success has been in the gym space, building gyms and positioning himself as a business coach expert. So that would be an example of, thank you, literally acquisition.com, which is his marketing business, and then he's got the gyms. So he he's very much an embodiment. I mean, he's built, and you could just see that there's a natural overlap with both spaces. And he manages that equally, in my view.
In this space, his book is a very good read to start thinking through what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, $100 million.
100, yeah, that's it. Hey, you're a big fan, eh?
It's a couple now, isn't it? $100 million
$100
offers.
million leads kind of speaks to this, and he's that whole idea of giving. So he's willing, just gives all the information. It's whether you take the action is the question.
And he's done phenomenally well. I mean, he's worth hundreds of millions. And he's very generous with his content. But again, that's drawing people in, introducing them to acquisition.com, and obviously the products and services they offer.
And as you say, so the trust is a big thing. He doesn't care that you use this stuff. It's building the trust, and that's what we're talking
And that
about.
we literally, thank you to you, that's, his name's been mentioned. That's earned media. That's PR. And then now there could be some interest, which then leads you to go visit his websites and socials and follow him.
Ties back to exactly what Trevor was saying when he opened was network.
It is.
I mean, that's the lady that you met about the nutrition engineer.
That's, yeah, very clever.
Yeah, like just network.
Better to admit than to, you just assumed you're an engineer. That was brilliant. Perfect. Well, folks, thank you so much for the opportunity. I don't think any more questions, but if you feel shy, we could always speak separately if you do have a question. Yeah, thank you, Trevor.
Thanks, Simon.
No.
That was a great one.